It was about a month after this, and during the interval, and I had seen nothing of Legrand, when I received a visit at Charleston from his man Jupiter. I had never seen the good old Negro look so dispirited, and I feared that some serious disaster had befall my friend. "Well, Jupe," I said, "what is the matter now? How is your master?" "Why, to speak the truth, master, him not so very well as it ought be." "Not well! I'm truly sorry to hear it. What does he complain of?" "There, that's it. Him never plainin' nothing, but him very sick for all that." "Very sick, Jupiter? Why didn't you say so at once? Is he confined to bed?" "No, dat he ain't. He ain't findin' nowhar. That's just where the shoe pinch. My mind it's got to very heavy about poor Massa Will." "Jupiter, I should like to understand what it is you are talking about. You say your master is sick. Hasn't he told you what ails him?" "Why, massa, tain't for worth while to get matter about the matter. Massa will say nothing at all ain't the matter with him, but then what make him go about looking this here way, with he head down and he shoulders up and as white as a ghost, and then he keep a siphon all the time." "Keeps a what, Jupiter?" "Keeps a siphon with the figures on the slate. The queerest figures I ever did see. I's getting to be scared, I tell you. Have for to keep mighty tight eye upon him maneuvers. T'other day he give me slip for he the sun up and was gone the whole the blessed day. I had a big stick ready cut for to give him deuced good beating when he did come, but I's such a fool that I hadn't the heart at all. After all, he looked so very poorly. Eh, what? Oh yes. Upon the whole, I think you would better not be so too severe with the poor fellow. Don't flog him, Jupiter. You can't be very well stand it. But can you form no idea of what has occasioned this illness, or rather this change of conduct? Has anything unpleasant happened since I saw you?" "No, massa, they ain't been nothing unpleasant since then. 'Twas for then I'm feared 'twas the very day you was there." "How? What do you mean?" "Why, massa, I mean the bug. There now." "The what?" "De bug. I'm very sartain the massa will been bit somewhere about the head by that gold bug." "And what cause have you, Jupiter, for such a supposition?" "Claws enough, massa, and mouf too. I never did see such a deuced bug. He kick and he bite. Everything would come near him. Massa will catch him fuss, but had for to let him go again mighty quick, I tell you. Then was the time he must have gotten to bite. I didn't like the look of the bug moth myself, nohow. So I wouldn't take hold of him with my fingers, but I caught him with a piece of paper Daddy found. I wrap him up in the paper and stuff a piece of it in him off. That was the way. And you think that then that your master was really bitten by the beetle and that the bite made him sick? I don't think nothing about it. I knows it. What make him dream about the ghoul so much? If it ain't 'cause he bit by the ghoul bug. I's heard about them ghoul bugs for this. But how do you know he dreams about gold? How I know? Why, 'cause he talks about it in his sleep. That's how I knows. Well, Jupe, perhaps you are right, but to what fortunate circumstance am I to attribute the honor of a visit from your from you today? What the matter, massa? Did you bring any message from Mr. Legrand? No, massa, I bring this here pistol. And here Jupiter handed me a note which ran thus. My dear, why have I not seen you for so long a time? I hope you have not been so foolish as to take offense at any little brusquerie of mine. But no, that is improbable. Since I saw you, I have had a great cause for anxiety. I have something to tell you, yet I scarcely know how to tell it, or whether I should tell it at all. I have not been quite well for some days past, and poor old Jupe annoys me almost beyond endurance by his well-meant attentions. Would you believe it? He had prepared a huge stick the other day with which to chastise me for giving him the slip, and spending the day solus among the hills on the mainland. I verily believe that my ill looks alone saved me a flogging. I have made no addition to my cabinet since we met. If you can in any way make it convenient, come over with Jupiter. Do come. I wish to see you tonight upon business of importance. I assure you that it is of the highest importance. Ever yours, William Legrand. There was something in the tone of this note which gave me great uneasiness. Its whole style differed materially from that of Legrand. What could he be dreaming of? What new crotchet possessed his excitable brain? What quote-unquote business of the highest importance could he possibly have to transact? Jupiter's account of him boded no good. I dreaded lest the continued pressure of my misfortune had at length fairly unsettled the reason of my friend. Without a moment's hesitation, therefore, I prepared to accompany the Negro. Upon reaching the wharf, I noticed a scythe and 3 spades, all apparently new, lying in the bottom of the boat in which we were to embark. What is the meaning of this, all this, Jupe? I inquired. Him scythe, massa, and spade. Very true, but what are they doing here? Him de scythe and de spade what massa will. Sis upon my buying for him in the town, and the devil all a lot of money I had to give for him. But what in the name of all that is mysterious is your Massa Will going to do with scythes and spades? That's more than I know. And devil take me if I don't believe it is more than he know too. But it's all come up the bug. Finding that no satisfaction was to be obtained of Jupiter, whose whole intellect seemed to be absorbed by the bug, I now stepped into the boat and made sail. With a fair and strong breeze, we soon ran in the little cove to the northward of Fort Moultrie, and with a walk of some 2 miles brought us to the hut. It was about 3 in the afternoon when we arrived. Legrand had been awaiting us eagerly, in eager expectation. He grasped my hand with a nervous empressment which alarmed me and strengthened the suspicions already entertained. His countenance was pale even to ghastliness, and his deep-set eyes glared with unnatural luster. After some inquiries about respecting his health, I asked him, not knowing what better to say, if he had obtained the scarabaeus from Lieutenant G. "Oh, yes," he replied, coloring violently. "I got it from him the next morning." "Nothing should tempt me to part with that scarabaeus. Do you know that Jupiter is quite right about it?" "In what way?" I asked, with a sad foreboding at heart. "In supposing it to be a bug of real gold." He said this with an air of profound seriousness, and I felt inexpressibly shocked. "The bug is to make my fortune," he continued with a triumphant smile, "to reinstate me in my family possessions. Is it any wonder, then, that I prize it? Since fortune has thought fit to bestow it upon me, I have only to use it properly, and shall arrive at the gold of which it is the index. Jupiter, bring me that scarabaeus." "What, the bug, massa? I'd better not go for the trouble of that bug. You must get him for your own self." Hereupon Legrand rose, with a grave and stately air, and brought me the beetle from a glass case in which it was enclosed. It was a beautiful scarabaeus, and at that time unknown to naturalists, of course a great prize in a scientific point of view. There were 2 round black spots near one extremity of the back, and a long one near the other. The scales were exceedingly hard and glossy, with all the appearance of burnished gold. The weight of the insect was very remarkable, and taking all things into consideration, I could hardly blame Jupiter for his opinion respecting it. But what to make of Legrand's concordance with that opinion I could not for the life of me tell. "I sent for you," said he, in a grandiloquent tone, when I had completed my examination of the beetle. "I sent for you for that I might have your counsel and assistance in furthering the views of Fata and of the bug." "My dear Legrand," I cried, interrupting him, "you are certainly unwell, and had better use some little precautions. You shall go to bed, and I will remain with you a few days until you get over this. You are feverish, and feel my pulse," said he. I felt it, and, to say the truth, found not the slightest indication of fever. "But you may be ill, and yet have no fever. Allow me this once, to prescribe for you. In the first place, go to bed. In the next—" "You are mistaken," he interposed. I am as well as I can expect to be under this excitement which I suffer. If you really wish me well, you will relieve this excitement." "And how is this to be done?" "Very easily. Jupiter and myself are going upon an expedition in the hills, and upon the very mainland. In this expedition, we shall need the aid of some person in whom we can confide. You are the only person we can trust. Whether we succeed or fail, the excitement which you now perceive in me will be equally allayed." "I am anxious to oblige you in any way," I replied, "but do you mean to say that this infernal beetle has any connection with your expedition in the hills?" "It has." "Then, Legrand, I can become a party to no such absurd proceeding." "I am sorry." "Very sorry, for we shall have to try it by ourselves." "Try it by yourselves? The man is surely mad. But stay, how long do you propose to be absent?" probably all night. We shall start immediately and be back, at all events, by sunrise.